Something you need? Thanks for taking the time to talk. I wanted to ask you about the artifact you found on Vectera. When you pulled it from the rock, held it in your hands for the first time, how did you feel? No, I don't think you understand. I know about the visions, the light, and the music. How did you feel inside? What were your thoughts? Oh my goodness. That must have been terrifying. When it comes to the artifacts, it never ceases to amaze me how the science, well, simply fails. Honestly, I wasn't sure how you'd react. Some people would consider what you went through a deeply personal experience. Oh, well, I enjoy hearing about them. Professionally, of course. Either way, we need all the help we can get. The artifacts are so different, so alien, and I'm certain one of them reached out and spoke to you. Quite the mystery. Well, judging from the fact that both you and Barrett claim to have heard music, I've made the leap that the artifact was reaching out. Music composition might not consist of words and sentences, but I'll be damned if that isn't an attempt at language. Oh, that's an excellent question. You'd think after years of gathering data about the artifacts, I'd have the perfect answer to that. But I haven't the faintest idea. Oh, no, not at all. There's so much going on there, I can't afford to divert all of our resources. But I have classified the artifacts as a priority project. Not much, I'm afraid. All I have to show for my efforts are eyewitness accounts, scores of inconclusive metallurgical test results, and wild theories. Frustrating? No. Bewildering? Yes. It would be, oh, well, an explorer's dream to solve a mystery like this. I knew I picked the right person for the job. Look, I wanted to thank you for taking the time to talk, and for keeping an open mind. And I also wanted to say, well, I'm pleased we're on this journey together. It's the best decision I've made in quite a long time. Hey, now that we have a moment, I wanted to ask how you're feeling. After your experience at the temple, you've given everyone at the lodge quite a scare. I find that to be rather surprising. According to what I've heard, your body absorbed an almost unquantifiable amount of energy of a type we can't even begin to understand. We're dealing with something unknown to modern science. Who knows how this encounter has affected your body or your mind? Although I don't know the exact nature of the energy you absorbed, I'm fairly certain it means you no harm. I don't have any scientific data to back that up, so you'll just have to trust my intuition. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Well, good. I'm pleased to hear that. That temple proves we're dealing with entities of unknown origin. The problem is that we can't even begin to guess what their intention was towards us and where they've gone. It's a possibility I've considered, but I'm not 100% convinced. The only thing we can be certain of is that the technology we've encountered points to beings that live outside the settled systems. Perhaps that's true, or perhaps you were simply quite lucky. It's just that... Oh, I'm afraid that we're flying almost completely blind here. All we know for certain at this point is that whoever created the artifacts are the same beings that built the temple. Anything else is just guesswork. I might as well put on a blindfold and toss darts at theories written on the wall. As far as Constellation's concerned, you're the first human we're aware of that's ever encountered one of these places. Now, whether you consider that lucky or not, that's another matter entirely. Oh, believe me, this is positively exhilarating. Think about the significance of this research. The questions it raises alone are mind-boggling. Who was this wondrous structure built to accommodate? How long ago did these entities inhabit our universe? Are they still out there, somewhere? Yes, exactly. Now you understand why it's imperative that we solve this puzzle. It's funny. I used to think the artifacts were the end-all be-all of scientific discovery, the pinnacle mystery of our time. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine it would lead to something of this magnitude. I just hope that you'll come through this, whatever it is, unharmed. Well, yes, of course you are. I was speaking of the power you acquired. This is all scientifically speaking, of course. Look, I've already taken up too much of your time. All I can do is promise that I'm not going to make you deal with this mystery alone. Whatever might be happening, I'll be right here to help you every step of the way. Yeah, what is it? Bye for now. Hey. I wanted to talk to you, but honestly, I don't know where to begin. The Starborn's technology is simply astonishing. It's just almost too much to process. Of course not. No one has. If an encounter with this level of importance had occurred in the past, I assure you that Constellation would be well acquainted with it. Yes, I suppose I am. But you can hardly blame me, can you? You do understand the significance of this encounter, don't you? This is humankind's first contact with what I believe is an alien race. A race with technology that could be far superior to our own. Oh, we could learn so much from them. The way they behaved, I'd say that's not very likely. If we are to learn anything from the Starborn, we're going to have to take the initiative ourselves. Oh, I do. More than you'll ever know. Can't be a coincidence that these Starborn suddenly appeared after your experience at that temple. We know they're here to lay claim to the artifacts, but what's their true motivation? What aren't they telling us? I feel exactly the same way, but it certainly sounded like they weren't willing to work with us at all. Damn. Oh, if only we knew more about the Starborn. what their species is like, where they're from, how they're able to speak our language. I feel like a cadet on my very first day aboard a spaceship. My mind is absolutely swimming with questions. Obviously, but there has to be more to these beings than simply originating from another world. Their name alone, Starborn. There's some type of hidden meaning there. Something that feels very old, perhaps even ancient. Whatever the case may be, I can assure you that Constellation intends to get to the bottom of this mystery. I'm not really sure. Scientifically speaking, we're all born from the stars. Most of the chemical components of our body, carbon, oxygen, sulfur, are exactly the same as those manufactured by internal stellar reactions. Now, ask someone like Matteo the same question, and he'd probably give a more theological answer. But hey, it's all a guessing game anyway. To a degree, yes. Every bit of exploration comes with inherent risk. If we continue to avoid life's mysteries, we'll barely make progress as a species. I certainly hope so. You know, it's funny. When I was a little girl, I'd lay on the ground and stare up at the stars. I was absolutely convinced they held a secret. I'd remain there for hours in silence, eyes closed, listening, waiting for the secret to be whispered in my ear. This encounter with the Starborn is that moment to me. The stars are finally whispering, and I need to hear what they have to say. Although I'm flattered that you think of me that way, there's a time and a place for that sort of talk. This is definitely not one of them. Well then, I've certainly wasted enough of your valuable time. Just do be careful if you cross paths with these Starborn in the future. I wouldn't want to lose one of the most valuable members of Constellation.
When you have a few moments, there's something I'd like to discuss. Yeah, what is it? Remember our last conversation, when you told me the artifacts made you feel like you were being pulled across the entire galaxy? Well, it got me thinking. So I dove into our archives and started looking through Constellation's older journal entries. Just because I wasn't familiar with the experience you described, doesn't mean the same might have been true for my predecessor. Unfortunately, no. Other than you and Barrett, there were no records of direct encounters with the artifacts. I have to admit, though, I did get more than a bit sidetracked reminiscing about old times. Really? I'm surprised that I haven't. After reading those journals, all of the pleasant memories of my time spent with Aja just started flooding back. Aja Mamasa. She was the youngest member of Constellation when it was founded. Only took her 15 years to reach chair. Sorry, I sometimes get so caught up in my own bubble, I forget that I wasn't the first. She absolutely was. Aja was the one that taught me the ropes at Constellation and took me under her wing as her protege. thought so too. That's why I adopted her methods. You know, Aja and I logged quite a few interesting discoveries together. But it was the journey itself that I'll never forget. We catalogued unusual stellar phenomena, a few habitable worlds, and some unique life forms, but nothing SSNN would bother to report. Exactly. For me, it was all about the quieter moments. There was nothing quite like sitting back and watching space bend while listening to Aja spin vivid stories to fill the time. Oh, I find that sort of cozy isolation the best way to really get to know someone. Yeah, you know, being alone in interstellar space, nothing but light years of black around you. Some people find that terrifying. I find it comfortable. It helps me bond with my shipmates. You okay? At this point, I'd say you've graduated from protege and moved up the ladder. A bit. You know, all this talk about Aja reminds me that my time with her was a gift. I miss her dearly. No, she retired. Living on Porima 2 now, I think. Come to think of it, if we're ever out that far, perhaps we could pay her a visit, and I could make proper introductions. Oh, don't worry. There's no bad blood between us. The worst that might happen is you get stuck listening to two old friends catching up on old times. Yeah, you'll do. Look, I don't expect you to be an exact copy of Aja. Your hunger for exploration, to pierce the veil and seek the unknown, it's a common bond that we share. I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't know if I deserve to be that close to anyone right now. If you knew about the things that I've done, the way my life's unfolded, I think your opinion of me might change. Please, give me some time. I have to go.
There's something I need to talk to you about.
You stay on the straight and narrow.
Thanks for taking time to chat. I really need a friendly ear right about now. I received a message from Constellation, and it's given me a lot to think about. No. I wish it was that simple. It's not from Barrett specifically. It's a line list of questions they need answered. Only I'm not there to answer them. No, it's the first time. But the fact that they're reaching out, well, It's given me a lot to think about. You're not keeping me out here. I am. Just... Here, let me explain. Before I joined Constellation, I served for 8 years as the head of the Navigator Corps, until the UC decided to axe the department. If you want to help, I feel like I need to give you some background. Just bear with me. It was a branch of the United Colonies Navy, a small fleet of ships outfitted for galactic exploration. Basically, a military version of Constellation. Had we notched some significant achievements, I'd agree with you. You see, the top brass demanded press-worthy discoveries to justify the spending, and money was tight after the war. Shutdown was inevitable. At the end of the day, I was in charge, so the blame obviously fell on my shoulders. Seriously? The Colony War, of course. You know, that little incident that caused the death of thousands of decent men and women as they squabbled over border disputes. That war. Oh, like hell I can't. You once told me that you favored the journey over the destination. So I'm hoping you'll understand what I'm trying to say. I failed because I was more concerned about exploring the stars than pushing a pencil. If I had fought harder, I'm convinced our division may have had a chance to prove its value. That depends on your definition of significant. Discover a rare neutron star, and no one cares. But slap a picture of a kooky alien life form on SSNN, and suddenly you're a goddamn rock star. It's all about the propaganda, what gets the people excited. That's what the United Colonies was focused on at the time. That's just it, though. Did I push too hard? Did they shut us down because I wasn't quietly sitting at my desk approving meaningless memos? We'll never know. Well, that brings us to this message now, doesn't it? Call it whatever you want. My drive, my initiative, my optimism. It's been my greatest strength and my worst nightmare. It elevates me to these positions of authority, but all I want to do is explore, not sit and make sure all the accounts are balanced. Yes, exactly. If it's obvious to you, imagine how obvious it is to someone like Barrett or Mateo. Oh, they must be itching to replace me by now. God damn it. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Oh, here you are trying to help me and I'm yelling at you. You have to understand. Once Aja retired, I lost the only person that gave a damn. Look, it's clear that you have feelings for me. It's just... I've never had time for this sort of thing in my life. Please, it's not you. It's me. I'm just not ready to get that close. I can't. Not now. But thank you for being there and listening. It helped. It really did.
Drunk and disorderly is our #1 offense.
We should have a talk. When you have the time, of course. I have an important personal decision to make, but I need to discuss something with you first. Phew, thank you. So, where to start? Before I was with the Navigator Corps, I was career military, part of the United Colonies Navy. When the Colony War broke out, I was posted as the chief navigator on a warship, the Dauntless. Well, the position didn't last long. There was a particularly bloody battle. We were fighting over a world in the Eta Cassiopeia system. Worst fighting I'd ever seen. We lost 12 ships that day. 12. Including my own. Economic reasons. Several of the worlds in the Cassiopeia system were mineral rich. Both sides wanted to drop refinery outposts on the surface to bolster their supply. With hundreds of lives lost on both sides, I'd argue there were no winners at all. Now let me finish. The ship was barely intact. The captain and first mate died the previous day, which put me in command. A shrewd captain would have called for the crew to abandon ship, but I was so angry. I wanted to stay. I needed to fight. I believe you, but you haven't heard the worst of this. We fought for hours, but the damage was fatal. I gave the order to abandon ship and the crew piled into the escape shuttle. As the shuttle launched, I could see it was damaged. I heard screams before the radio cut. And last thing I saw, they were spiraling helplessly towards the planet's surface. There was nothing I could do. It was my duty as acting captain to be the last person to leave the Dauntless. We had more than one escape shuttle available. So, I elected to wait until they were safe. You're sorry. For me? If I hadn't been so stubborn, so eager to prove that I could handle command, my crew would have had more time to escape. My superiors. When the dust settled, the United Colonies gave me a medal. Can you believe that? A damn medal. I never even had a chance to find the shuttle wreckage and give my crew a proper burial. After I checked every section of the ship for wounded crew, I took the other escape shuttle. If I hadn't, I would have died. The Dauntless came apart minutes after I escaped. Bad luck. That sounds familiar. Remember when you said no one but me would have pushed harder to keep the Navigator Corps going? Well, this time, pushing too hard cost lives. Don't you get it? Everything I do, everything I touch, somehow falls apart. That's why I'm worried about us. All this nonsense and you still have faith, eh? You really care about me, don't you? You know, I've spent a lot of time thinking about us, about our relationship, how we've clearly become close. I practiced what I was going to say when the moment was right, and now that it's here, my mind's gone blank. Look, you deserve the best. Someone who can give themselves to you entirely. But right now, I have too much baggage. Too much on my mind. I hope you'll forgive me for pushing you away. I just need time. Ever since we talked about the Battle of Cassiopeia, I can't get what happened out of my mind. Was it that obvious? I thought I could handle these memories, but until I return to Cassiopeia, I'll never be able to put this to rest. I would like that. Actually, I need that. One problem, though. Pinpointing the cruise shuttle wreckage is going to be like trying to find a grain of salt in a sandbox. I think we need to start by locating my old campsite on Cassiopeia 1. Shortly after I evacuated, I saw the ship come apart. The UC listed it as lost, so I assume the Dauntless was completely destroyed. The Dauntless took heavy fire to the docking section during the battle. We had 3 shuttles. One was destroyed, and the other 2 were damaged. There was no other way off the ship. Lucky. Compared to my crew, I hit the goddamn jackpot. Still, I'll never forget my finger hovering over that launch button. Would I launch safely, or explode into a fireball? It turned out that my shuttle had just enough power to allow an emergency landing on the planet's surface. I wouldn't call what I did a soft landing, but thank you all the same. My shuttle should have the telemetry tracking data for the other shuttle aboard. It should give us an idea where it went down. That's if scavengers haven't completely stripped my ship for parts. It has a breathable atmosphere, indigenous fauna, and maybe a few abandoned mining outposts. Otherwise, it's not populated. Don't worry, it's not as though I'm coming apart at the seams. It's the conversations we've been having. They dredged up these old memories, and they're a burden. Hold on. I don't know the exact location of my survival campsite. For that, we are going to have to head to Mast and see if we can get the information from my old friend, Admiral Logan. Your instincts are right on target. Logan and I butted heads more than once during my time with the Navigator Corps. We've never seen eye to eye. Look, I hope this isn't asking too much. Last thing I want to do is drag you into some kind of personal crusade. That's why I'm desperate for your help. Truth is, I'm scared. When I set foot on Cassiopeia, I don't know if I'll be able to handle what I find. If I begin to fall apart, I need someone I can trust to hold me together. Besides bad memories, I don't know. I'm trying not to think about it. Not yet. I know you will. You've always been there when I've needed your help. Why you continue to support me, I'll never understand. I don't know what to say. I've been so busy searching the stars for answers. I've overlooked what's been in front of me all this time. True love. Something I've seriously considered sharing with you for a long time. Just not ready. Not yet. Traveling out here with you, I've discovered that friendships change by circumstance. I worked closely with Aja on long space voyages, so we became friendly. When she quit Constellation, the friendship ended. But I'm certain at this point, even if you and I were separated by a great distance, we'd never lose touch. I won't. Hey, anyway, I've taken up enough of your time. I know you have a lot to do. I really appreciate your offer to visit Cassiopeia. Hopefully, it'll bring me the closure that I've needed for far too long. If you don't mind, I'd like to speak to Admiral Logan sooner rather than later. Not at all. You can ask me anything. Logan and I have rarely agreed on anything. In fact, I'm fairly certain he never saw the true value in the Navigator Corps in the first place. When word came down that my division was being mothballed, I stormed into his office and, well, let's just say we had words. We haven't spoken since. The escape shuttle had some supplies, but those ran out after about a month. Fortunately, Cassiopeia is a lush planet with plenty of flora and fauna, so I was able to use my military training to survive. Honestly, it felt like I was marooned on that planet for years. It wasn't until the UC rescue ship picked me up that I realized only 10 months had passed. Let me know if you need anything else. Admiral Logan's office shouldn't be terribly far. Let's go. Yes? What?
Sarah Morgan. It's been what, almost 10 years?
Admiral, it's, good to see you again, sir.
You're not required to address me as sir. That protocol ended the moment you dropped your clusters on my desk, remember?
Look, Admiral, I'm not here to open old wounds.
Old wounds is an interesting turn of phrase, given our past. Listen to me, Commander. I'm not sure why you're here, but whatever it is, why don't you just get to it?
I'm here because I need your help, Admiral.
You need my help. That's interesting. The last time we spoke, you made it quite clear that you were turning your back on the Navy.
That was a decade ago. Things change. People change. Admiral, please. I didn't come here to argue. I'm here to come to terms with my past.
Your past is sitting in a closed file in the archives. That's where you left it when you walked out on the United Colonies. And what about you? Just who in the blazes are you anyway? I haven't spoken to Sarah Morgan for almost 10 years, and out of the blue, both of you barge into my office. I want answers. You can start with telling me who the hell you are. Ex-military, eh? Okay, soldier. Then give me one reason I shouldn't have both of you brought up on charges for insubordination.
With all due respect, Admiral, this is ridiculous. If you have a problem with me, then there's no need to berate my colleague.
I don't have a problem with you, Commander. I'm simply trying to determine why you deserve the Navy's help. That's quite a noble gesture. Is this true, Commander?
It's about Cassiopeia, Admiral. I'm heading back there to find out what happened to the crew of the Dauntless, and hopefully, to bring their legacy home.
That sounds like a dangerous operation. Are you certain it's worth the risk?
I don't know.
I see. The fact that you'd risk your own lives to solve this mystery speaks volumes.
They were my responsibility, Admiral. One way or another, I intend to bring them home.
I understand. And I believe I owe you an apology, Commander. Our last encounter has obviously distorted my impression of your character. What can I do to help?
If you wouldn't mind allowing me to access the files regarding my rescue, I'd be most grateful, Admiral.
That shouldn't be too difficult. I've sent all the relevant information to you, Slades. Was there anything else?
No, Admiral. Thank you.
You don't need to thank me, Commander. I just hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. We can't ever forget the sacrifices made for the United Colonies. We owe such a great debt to so many.
During the Colony War, I would have described her as a natural-born leader. Efficient, unwavering, motivational, ideal officer material. But after the incident on Cassiopeia, Commander Morgan changed. She became unsure of herself, so she was assigned to the Navigator Corps. But it wasn't really a punishment. After all, it was obvious she was yearning for an exploratory position, and we mutually agreed the move would be beneficial. I truly felt sorry for her when the cabinet pulled the plug on her division. And I wasn't surprised when she resigned from the service the very next day. Despite all that, if you ask me how I feel about Commander Morgan today, all I can say is that Constellation is fortunate to have her as their leader. I'll answer whatever I can, but please understand that was a military vessel and some of the information is classified. I'm afraid I don't have a good answer for that. We were at the height of the war, and the UC had retreated from that star system. We simply didn't have the capability to mount a search. It was purely due to blind chance that a passing freighter picked up Commander Morgan's emergency beacon and sent a search team. I hope you aren't attempting to insinuate something, but no, I wasn't in charge of the UC fleet back then. That honor fell to Fleet Admiral Francois Senon. If memory serves, a total of 11 personnel escaped the destruction of the vessel, including Commander Morgan. That class of ship was equipped with 6 escape shuttles. But the flight recorder only indicates 2 left the Dauntless before it broke apart. Unfortunately, I can't divulge the reason the Dauntless was in the Cassiopeia system, but it clearly became engaged with 3-star collective warships. According to its flight recorder, it was heavily damaged by weapons fire and succumbed to full structural failure. Considering this was one of our larger warships at the time, It's not surprising that it took so long for it to break apart. Certainly. I want to do everything I can to assist both of you in this noble endeavor.
Initiated. Watch your flaring. I can't believe I'm here. It feels like walking into a dream. Oh, it's been nearly 20 years, but it feels like a lifetime. Strangely, this place looks exactly the same as I remember it. But that isn't possible, right? Just like a dream. Thank you. Right now, I feel like I need all the help that I can get. Phew. Okay, so let me get my bearings for a moment. Yes, this looks correct. Those rock formations nearby look familiar. My old campsite shouldn't be far. You mean besides the dangerous terrain, vicious fauna, and the chance of getting lost? Nah, you've got nothing to worry about. Good. Once we get to the campsite, we'll use that as a starting point to search for the cruise shuttle wreckage. Let's go. Anything interesting in range? This must be some debris from my shuttle. Not exactly a textbook landing, but I didn't have much of a choice. Well, this is it. This is the spot where I spent close to a year waiting for rescue. Not exactly Paradiso, is it? I never said I walked away. When my ship hard landed on the surface, it broke apart. There was no fire, but I was pretty badly injured. Had to crawl from the wreckage. When they finally rescued me, the UC medics said I had 3 broken ribs, shattered my ulna, and had internal organ damage. I was in the medical ward recovering for almost 6 weeks. I wish. I was so uncomfortable. I would have settled for a pile of straw. Look at this thing. It's been sitting here rusting. I think we need to grab an emergency power cell to get the ship's computer up and running. No, I'm afraid that it can't. It's only designed to power individual systems. Even if it could, my old shuttle is far too damaged to be fully restored. Sure, we have plenty of power cells on the ship, but they're not UC military grade. They won't work. I'm afraid we'll have to do some scrounging. Cute. When I was stranded, I set up a distress beacon powered by emergency power cells. The beacon was up there on the plateau. I guess it's time to start climbing. You're going to be carrying that gooey mess, right? Setting up this beacon probably saved my life. Who knows how long I would have been stranded here. We've located where the other shuttle went down. I can't believe our plan worked. Don't even joke. If this data is faulty, and we end up being pointed to a pile of rocks, I don't even know what we'd do next. I'm fairly certain I was able to capture all the data before I hit the ground. I'll try not to worry about it if you won't. Well, we're not there yet, but damn, it does feel good. The telemetry data puts the wreckage out of range to hike. We're going to have to head back to the ship and land on a different part of the planet. Let's get going.
Down, everything in the green.
Hello.
Look at this view. Had I been on this planet under more pleasant circumstances, I might have had more time to appreciate the beauty it has to offer. Hope you've calibrated that thing. This is what's left of the cruise shuttle. But it looks like parts were scavenged and dragged somewhere else. Could there have been survivors?
I'll shoot if I have to. Just turn around and leave. I know how to use this thing, and I will.
Oh my god. Who are you?
I'm nobody. Just go away. I'm not going to let anyone take my stuff again. No way. Both of you, just go! I will. I will hurt someone. I don't care. Why should I listen to you anyway?
Stop it right now. Put away that gun and talk to us. We want to know what happened here.
See? You're not nice at all. I knew it. You're a liar. That's all grown-ups do is lie.
Sorry. I was wrong to get so angry. We are here to help you, and we promise to tell the truth.
I don't know. You're kind of scaring me. Why should I listen to you? That's because no one is fooling me ever again. Take me home? I was born here. This is my home. You're going to have to come up with a better story than that.
You were born here? Hold on. Oh my god. Your parents, your mum and your dad, what were their names?
Jenna and Elias. Why?
Jenna and Elias. Private Jenna Marsh and Corporal Elias Obrist. You're their daughter. Listen to me. I knew your parents. They worked with me on the Dauntless. I'm Commander Sarah Morgan.
You're Sarah Morgan? Mom and Dad's captain? My parents used to talk about you all the time. It's like a dream to finally meet you. I know this is Cassiopeia. I've been here since I was born. I know my mother and father were from Gemsun or something like that. I bet it's like 1,000 miles away. My parents told me she was in command of their ship in a huge battle. They said she was a hero and the bravest person they ever knew. Yeah? Well, you're too late. My parents are dead. My father died a long time ago. And my mother, she was killed by those monsters at the graveyard. It's just me here now. All by myself.
Let me ask you a question. Actually, I don't even know your name.
Oh, yeah. My name's Sona.
Sona. What a lovely name. Sona, you mentioned a graveyard. Is that where the crew is, you know?
Buried? Yeah. It's a bunch of stones with those necklaces like the ones my mom and dad had hanging on them.
Thank you, Sona. I'm going to talk to my friend here a minute, okay?
Okay, Sarah.
Phew. I don't even know where to begin. I'm trying to hold it together. There's just too much coming at me all at once, you know? I'm just so relieved that you're here. There's absolutely no way I could have handled this alone. Am I? I feel like a nervous wreck. Oh, there's so much to process. But I don't have time to deal with it right now. If you want to help, then find that graveyard and bring me those necklaces Sona mentioned. I'm hoping they're my crew's gene tags. It's an identification tag worn by UC military personnel. It's encoded with the soldiers' medical information and a sample of their DNA. If we can bring them back to Jemison, it would be like bringing home the crew's bodies for a proper burial. Good. Just be careful. Sona's monsters are undoubtedly hostile life forms that have claimed the graveyard as their territory.
Yeah? Bunch of jerks. They pretended to be nice, but they were really mean. They made all these promises. They said they'd take me with them if I helped them load all of my stuff onto their ship. When I went to get the last bit of stuff that I had hid, they already took off and flew away. I think I cried for a whole day. I don't know. There was one lady and two guys. The lady was the one pretending to be nice to me. They were wearing spacesuits and had all kinds of guns. One of them had a big scar on his face. They looked pretty scary. I think I heard one of them say they were from the fleet, or something like that. Sounded weird to me. Yeah, sure. Grown-ups always say that they're sorry right after something bad happens. But it's just words. It never really helps. When I get older, if I ever see those jerks again, I'm gonna make them give me all my stuff back. Mom was a doctor on her ship, so she taught me how to gather food and medicine from the plants. She also taught me how to shoot this gun, in case bad people or monsters tried to get me. Didn't help me save her, though. Sure, I guess it's okay. Well, every day my mom would go up to the graveyard to visit Dad. Sometimes she'd let me go, sometimes I'd stay here. There was this one day where I couldn't go, and she never came back. I was really scared. I finally went up there and found her, but she was hurt really bad. I couldn't even bring her home. At least I was able to hug her before she died. Mom told me Dad got hurt when their ship crashed on this planet. He was always lying down and sleeping a lot. But I don't know what made him so sick. I was really little when he died, so I don't remember a lot about him. If you want. Mom had slates with learning stuff on them. She used them to teach me how to read and do science. Oh, and math too. Ugh. I think we looked at that stuff every day. She called it school time. I miss that. I miss her too. Just keep away from me. I don't trust you.
Sona, calm down and listen to me. It's much too dangerous to stay here all by yourself, darling.
I don't care. This is my home. You can't make me leave.
We can't leave her here. It's not safe. She has to come back with us to Jemison. Oh, I don't know what to do. Can you talk to her? I knew I could depend on you. Now all we have to do is convince this poor girl that she's better off leaving the planet with us. I don't know if I have it in me to say the right things.
I can hear you talking about me. And I don't care what either of you say. I'm not going anywhere.
Look, I'm clearly out of my element here and not in the right state of mind. Could you just talk to her, please?
Why won't Sarah listen to me? I mean, kinda. I just met her. The only reason I'm trusting you at all is because my mom and dad said Sarah was a good person. I know she probably wants to help me out, but I really wish she'd listen to my part of the story. I've been alone for a long time, and even when bad people visit, I've been safe. That still doesn't mean I should leave the only home I ever had, does it? Mom and Dad told me there was a whole universe out there, with thousands of planets. They showed me the maps and the star charts. That does sound pretty cool, but well, it's also kind of scary. It would be hard to leave the only home I've ever known. Well, I've always dreamed of finding a place that's safe from the monsters. But leaving Mom and Dad behind, it's really hard. Even though they're dead, I don't want to abandon them. I am safe. Those monsters can't catch me. They've tried, but I learned how to trick them. They're pretty dumb. And if bad people visit here, I know how to hide. I was even watching you when you landed. I bet you didn't even see me. This planet doesn't bother me. That's why I'm not sure I need to abandon my mom and dad. I suppose you're right. Mom and Dad always promised that I'd leave here someday. I'm sorry I yelled at everybody. I know you and Sarah are just trying to help. I'm going to go get my stuff and then I'll board your ship. Don't worry, I'll stay out of the way until we get, well, wherever we're going.
That poor girl. I hope we've made the right decision. Oh, I do hope that's true. We're ripping Sona from the only home she's ever known and casting her back into society. It's going to be difficult for her to adjust to the changes. Wherever she ends up, just promise me we'll check on her from time to time, please. Thank you. Look, before we leave Cassiopeia behind, I wanted to say one more thing to you. Perhaps at the overlook we passed on the way here? I promise it won't take long. Let's go. Look, before we head back to the ship, I wanted to tell you how much of an amazing gift this has been. You had to push me to come out here, and if I hadn't have listened to you, the universe would probably have never known about that little girl. And I intend to repay you for that, even if it takes the rest of my life. You know, this is the second time I've been on this world. And until this very moment, I never stopped to reflect at just how magnificent it was. Oh, look at this place. This is the reason I'm out here, exploring the stars. Worlds upon worlds, just waiting to have their beauty discovered. Shedding this burden of my past has finally allowed me to open my eyes, wider than they've ever been opened before. And it's all because of you. Perhaps. I suppose we'll both have to think about that for a while now, won't we? Well, I suppose it's time to bid goodbye to Cassiopeia once again. This time, under much happier circumstances. Now, let's head back to Jemison. I want to give those gene tags you gathered to Admiral Logan, and figure out what we're going to do with Sona.
I served my time in the fleet, but were I a younger man, I'd be back out there now. Welcome back. Did you find your answers?
And it's my duty to report that we found someone there alive. A child born from 2 of the crew that survived the crash. After her parents died, that poor girl spent years surviving on that hostile world, alone. We abandoned her, Admiral. We let her down.
I'm sorry. I had no idea. How could we have possibly known? Yes, of course. I think we can all agree that this was another unfortunate circumstance of the Colony War.
What you'd call an unfortunate circumstance, I call a tragedy.
You're absolutely right, Sarah. It is a tragedy. One thing that I can assure you is that the names of these men and women will never be forgotten. I'll see to it personally.
Thank you, Admiral.
Good luck to both of you. It's been an honor.
Once we're done here, we should have a little talk with Sona. Poor thing's waiting for us at the lodge. So, what's new with you today? I don't mind at all. Go ahead. I've been giving that a lot of thought. I'm going to suggest she stay at the lodge, but I don't want her to think that I'm forcing her to follow in my footsteps. At the very least, it should give her a safe place from which she can adjust to her new way of life. It had to be blind luck. The shuttle had almost zero propulsion and no defensive shielding. It would have taken a hell of a pilot to land the ship without it breaking into a million pieces. Maybe we'll talk later?
Yeah? Did you want to talk about something? There you are. I was wondering when he'd come and say hi to me.
Hello, Sona. I see you found your way to the lodge without any trouble.
Yeah, it was kind of hard though. All these people around. Never seen so many people in my entire life. Sarah gave me directions. She's really good at that. Riding that gnat thing was super cool. It was like magic or something. Like something from the stories Mom used to read. But the hardest part was having everyone staring at me. All these people in one place. It's kind of scaring me. I don't know why. I think I like it. I don't know yet. It's all really new to me.
You'll fit in just fine. You're one of the smartest people I've ever met. So, what do you think? Do you like it here, Sona?
At the lodge? Yeah, this place is huge. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. You must be like a bazillionaire, Sarah.
Oh, don't I wish? This place isn't mine alone. It belongs to everyone who's a part of Constellation. And I think it should belong to you too, Sona. I want you to stay here and make this your home.
Whoa. Does that mean I get to go exploring with both of you? Or wait, do I get my own ship?
Well, Auntie Sarah can't exactly afford that right now, but she can provide you with the best exploration training in the galaxy.
I understand. Oh, and don't worry, I learn real fast, so you better get ready to have another member of Constellation signing on for missions.
I can't wait.
Well, anyway, thanks for letting me stay here. I promise I won't let either of you down.
I'm sure that you won't. Well, I think we should let Sona get settled. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to visit the Colony War Memorial now. I want to pay my final respects.
Hi there. How's it going? It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it in all my life. Not even in Mom's picture slates. It's almost like a fairy tale. Like it's not real, you know? I'm sure that sounds pretty dumb to you. But hey, I lived in a house made from busted up spaceship parts and trees. Yeah, a little bit. That planet was the only real home that I ever knew. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it feels like I've left my family behind. It was a really tough decision to make. But you and Sarah were right. I had to move on with my life. And hey, one day when I'm old enough, I could always go back for a visit. See you later.
Look at this. All these people, their entire lives distilled down to names on a memorial. I wonder how close I came to being reduced to just a name. I am proud. I was simply too foolish to realize it until you changed my perspective. And I care about you too. There's obviously some kind of a connection between us that I think we need to discuss. Just let me have another moment here, and then we can head over to the waterfall, so we can talk in private. Okay, I'm ready. Let's go. When things at the lodge are too much, I love coming to this spot to just sort of, I don't know, melt away for a while. It's lovely here, isn't it? I've been from one end of the settled systems to the other. But this place, this exact spot, there's nowhere else like it in the galaxy. I hadn't thought of it that way. But you're absolutely right. I usually come up here to mull over some of the heated debates we have at Constellation. You'd be surprised how many decisions I've made on this very spot. That's actually why I asked you to meet me up here. I was hoping we could talk about something very important. Good, because I have a lot to say. It's about my return to Cassiopeia. What we learned about Sona has been constantly replaying in my mind. Maybe it sounds crazy, but that young girl's isolation feels like a reflection of my own life. Don't get me wrong, compared to Sona, I've had it easy. I've spent my life surrounded by all sorts of people. Constellation, the Navigator Corps. Hell, even the UC military. Despite that, no matter how hard I've tried to make them a part of my life, they tend to drift away and disappear. I suppose. Well, if that's true, this challenge is wearing me down. Right now? Are you talking about Constellation? Or what exactly are you saying? Ha! Sorry, I just need a moment to gather my thoughts. From things you've said in the past, it's obvious you want to have a serious relationship. You want to become close. So, if you're willing to take that leap of faith with someone like me, then I'm ready to do the same. I can't imagine being in love with anyone else. So, if you're willing to make the leap, I'm ready to do the same. You're something truly special. You know that? You've helped me conquer my self-doubt, my confidence, hell, everything. For the first time in my life, I feel complete. And with you by my side, I'm convinced that feeling will last forever. You're the best thing that's happened to me in my life. I love you. Always. I received a message from my mother a few days ago. She's returned from another one of her sightseeing cruises. Yeah, you know, one of those luxury liner journeys that shows off binary stars, gas nebulas, asteroid fields. Pretty photogenic stuff. Apparently, it's my mother's new favorite pastime. Why would you be... Oh, I see. We never talked about this, did we? The truth is that my mother lives in a fairly remote location, so we rarely speak to one another. Good. When I say that to most people, they look at me like I'm crazy. I don't think they realize how much control parents can exert on your life, especially when their dreams conflict with your own. Oh, I'm certain they felt they were doing the right thing. You see, both of my parents were diplomats working under the flag of the UC Administrative Division. After I completed my basic education, they signed me up for a one-year apprenticeship in their department, without bothering to ask. It's the governmental arm of the United Colonies. You know, the politicians, the diplomats, the ambassadors. Imagine having to spend most of your career hovering behind a desk. Oh, I can't even fathom anything more boring. Look, I was 18 years old, fresh out of school, and I idolized my parents. I trusted them. I'm certain they felt they were doing what was best for their daughter. Who was I to argue? Wanted isn't the right word. Demanded would be more appropriate. For my apprenticeship, I was sent to Sidonia. My job consisted of drafting political policies and arbitrating trade disputes. The silver lining of the job was that it allowed me to spend time exploring every square inch of Mars. You have to understand, this was my first time I was alone on another world. Now, don't get me wrong, Jemison is an amazing place, but for me, it was the old neighborhood. Mars was like a new frontier. Oh, I spent every waking moment I could exploring the planet. I was swallowed by it. Months before the apprenticeship ended, I dumped my diplomatic certification and joined the UC Navy. Of course, my parents didn't approve. We had a huge argument that resulted in all ties being severed between us. Yes, I was proud of myself. For a while. You see, my father was killed during the opening shots of the Colony War. I returned to Jemison for the funeral and reunited with my mother. After that, we vowed to stay in touch. After the Freestar Collective started farming Vesta, and the UC pushed back, my father was one of the many diplomats sent in to arbitrate. After the talks broke down, war broke out on Vesta, and all of the UC diplomats were evacuated from Freestar space. Unfortunately, my father's transport was caught in the crossfire. Aren't you sweet? Always concerned with how I'm feeling. That's why I fell in love with you. Your smile, your caring. It brightens even my darkest days. Listen, I'm going to be completely upfront with you. All this talk of family, it makes me wonder where our own relationship stands. You mean that? You'd do that? For me? I've been dreaming about this moment and still, I don't know what to say. I swear, I'll love you until forever itself ends. I just need a little time to think about the ceremony. I have some thoughts about how we should move forward. You know, I used to dream about finding the love of my life. And here you are. All I ever needed was you, right here beside me. Always a pleasure. Yes, have a look. Always and any time. I can't believe how perfectly we were made for each other. I've never felt so comfortable. It's wonderful to have this kind of stability in my life right now. Good. Anytime you want to talk about our relationship, just let me know. God knows you've done that enough times for me. You be careful, okay?
If you want to talk, make it quick. I think I'm late for Noelle's science lesson. Hey, let me know when you're ready to take me along with you. Should only be a few years. I don't know if I'll ever get used to being around all these people. Everyone hurrying around, talking, eating, drinking, doing a million things. It's so weird, but kind of exciting at the same time, you know? Going from a planet with a population of 3 to this one is going to take a lot of patience and trust, that's for sure. Well, there's no other people my age here at the lodge, so it's going to be kind of tough. Actually, Noelle is pretty nice. She said she'd teach me some stuff about science. You know, pick up where my mom left off. Besides that, I don't really care if I make friends or not. You and Sarah are the only friends I'll ever really need. Goodbye.
So, I've given everything we've discussed a lot of thought, and I've decided I'd like Aja Mamasa to conduct our marriage ceremony. I remember Aja mentioning she presided over a previous commitment ceremony between Barrett and his husband Irvin. Besides, the thought that Aja would be there to officiate this important step in my life is comforting. I hope you don't mind. I knew you'd understand. So, with that settled, I suppose we just keep it a quiet ceremony? Just the two of us? Honestly, no. I respect everyone at Constellation, but this is part of my personal life. If it's all the same to you, I'd like to keep my personal feelings about us separate from Constellation. If anyone else had suggested that, I'd say no. But hearing it from you, I know in my heart that it's the right thing to do. I'll send her an invite and we'll see if she shows. Anyone else? Or will the three of us with Aja presiding be enough? Oh, that's sweet of you to suggest, but I think bringing Sona all the way to Aja's home would be too much anxiety for the poor girl. We need to give her some time. All right, it's settled then. I'll send a message to Aja asking for her to preside over the ceremony. As soon as you're ready, let's head to Paradiso. I can't tell you how much this means to me. I love you.
Oh, it's nice to finally be off our ship.
As we were landing, I picked up a message from Aja. She said to meet us at the park overlooking the ocean. Before we go to the ceremony, I want you to look me in the eyes and tell me this is exactly what you want. I just melt when I hear you say things like that to me. I love you, and I'm forever thankful to have someone as amazing as you in my life. Now come on, Aja is waiting for us. But first, we should probably say something to my mother.
It certainly was nice of you to think of me when sending invitations to my daughter's wedding.
It's good to see you too, Mum.
I just wish you would have given me more notice. Or maybe some time to get to know your dear partner. I barely even know his name. Oh? She probably warned you about me, hmm? What to say, what not to say, that sort of thing. I hope you realize I'm not as bad as she makes me out to be.
I did nothing of the sort. Just a little talk about Dad and how you and I don't speak much. I promise you, that's all. Anyway, I'm sorry, Mum. I know how this must all seem to you. This was a sudden decision, and we didn't want to waste any more time. We wanted to keep the ceremony small and involve only the people I care about the most.
Sarah, dear. I hope you know that I am delighted to be here, to see you finally get married. It's been a long time coming, and I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Thank you for coming, Mum. We'll be sure to talk more in a bit. But for now, let's not keep poor Aja waiting.
We're waiting until everyone arrives.
Go on. I think someone's waiting for you. Mostly the physical distance between us. It wasn't intentional, I'll have you know. Our lives simply diverged as she grew older. You may not know this, but we had different plans for her when she was growing up. I've since come to terms and accepted that she didn't want to follow in her parents' footsteps. Perhaps... She needs to hear it from me. I need to make it more clear to her that I'm proud of her, regardless of her choices. I need to, if I want to be closer to my daughter and her new partner. Oh, don't be silly. Of course you do, my dear. If there's one thing I know about Sarah, it's that she doesn't settle on anything lightly. Her attraction to you must be genuine, and therefore, I trust her completely when she says she's found the one. Now go on. Marry the poor girl. She's waited long enough.
Oh, gosh, really? We're doing this, are we?
Oh, can I? When Sarah was 6, I believe, she lost her second tooth, but this time she actually lost it. I forget how it happened exactly, but it ended up going out with the waste as we were flying between Jemison and... Oh, I forget where. It's not important. She was so distraught. Mummy, what if the tooth fairy doesn't know I lost a tooth and doesn't come? She cried. So I told her to write a note and leave it under her pillow for the tooth fairy. So she ended up explaining what had happened and begged the tooth fairy for a spaceship so she could go off and find her lost tooth for her. It was adorable.
Thanks, Mother. Just... thanks for that.
We'll talk later, I suppose.
Just a few moments for everyone to take their places. We're waiting until everyone arrives. It's so lovely to see you, Sarah.
It's wonderful to see you too, Aja. This is the one I told you about.
I've heard a lot about you. All of it good. You're quite a catch.
10 seconds in and already you're embarrassing everyone.
Before we go any further, I just want to make sure that you are right for Sarah. She's quite special, hmm?
It's true. We are.
I can see that. Well, I've seen enough. I can read people the moment I lay eyes on them. And you're going to make Sarah quite happy.
Coming from you, Aja, that means a lot.
Of course, Sarah. You know I always look out for you. Now, are we ready to begin the ceremony? Very well. If everyone's ready, then I'll begin. It's been years since Sarah Morgan and I have spoken. And though it might appear that we've grown apart, I feel that we've become closer friends than ever before. When I received the message with Sarah's intent to marry, and that she wanted me to officiate the ceremony, I was overwhelmed with joy. Not because she had decided to rekindle our friendship, but because she was allowing me to share the happiest moment of her life. I can't imagine a greater honor. And for that, Sarah, I thank you.
I wouldn't have had it any other way, Aja.
Before you present your vows, I'd ask both of you to remember that love is what brought you together today. It is a foundation upon which a structure of trust, faith, and affirmation is built. This structure can be absolutely impenetrable if you both agree to love each other unconditionally, with faith, devotion, and acceptance. And most importantly, to allow yourself to be loved. Remember, there are no other bonds more meaningful than the one you are undertaking today. You should cherish this moment and hold it close to your hearts as a reminder of the love you share. If you both are willing to abide by these words, then you can be assured that your lives will be filled with joy and happiness forever.
That was beautiful, Aja. Thank you.
Did you need a moment, Sarah?
No, I'm fine. But I wanted to say something before you continue. When we stood beside that waterfall in New Atlantis, you told me that I needed to forget the past and focus on what I have right now. I swear, with every fiber of my being, that the past will no longer be an obstacle in my life. And I will honor your words by focusing my affection on the most important thing in my life. You. This is my solemn pledge to you. From deep within my heart, from deep within my soul, for all eternity.
And you? Did you have anything you wanted to say to Sarah?
I know you will. Oh, you're going to make me cry.
You had a gift, Sarah?
Yes. I wanted you to have this as a token of our love. I'm giving this to you as a symbol of the clean break I've made from my past. Oh, it would have been impossible without your help. And for that, I'll be forever grateful.
With these promises of affection and these vows you've exchanged, by the power vested in me by the Articles of Constellation, I happily pronounce you life mates. Congratulations!
Aja, I don't know what to say. That was... oh, amazing. I couldn't imagine having the ceremony without you.
I'm glad everything worked out for you, Sarah. I'm only sorry that we waited so long to reach out and contact one another. That isn't necessary. This was my gift to the both of you. Well, you're both welcome to stay here for as long as you like. Sarah, your mother will be staying here with me for a few weeks. We've actually got a lot more in common than I expected. So, I guess this is goodbye for now. I wish the both of you a happy and healthy life together.
I'll never forget this, Aja. Thank you.
Don't worry. I know how. I'll try to work on her again, Sarah. It was a wonderful wedding. I was so happy to officiate for you. She was a royal pain in the butt. That's what she was. Hot-headed, impulsive, eager to rush into things without examining the ramifications, eh? Honestly, a lot like I was at her age. Her hunger to explore the void was the most fervent I'd seen in my years at Constellation. There wasn't a single assignment she'd refuse. All in all, though, she was one of the best explorers I've traveled with. And I'd wager that holds true up to today. That woman has a good head on her shoulders. You should count yourself lucky to be a part of her life. You have to ask? Look at the place. It's absolute paradise. I can spend my day at the beach, relax with a cool drink and catch up on some reading, enjoy the cuisine, whatever my heart desires. I haven't even traveled off-world since I arrived. Hell, I haven't even boarded a spacecraft. It's so wonderfully liberating. Moving to Paradiso was one of the best decisions I made in my entire life. I was chair of Constellation for 35 years. I was there for all the low points and all the high. I kept Constellation out of the colony war, made some incredible discoveries, and recruited some of the most amazing explorers in the settled systems. I just finally reached a point where I felt I'd done enough. And it was time to give Sarah a chance. And I have no regrets either. If you're expecting controversy or some sort of political reason, I can assure you, it doesn't exist. And between you and me, I'm not getting any younger, eh? And this tired old woman wanted to enjoy the sunset of her life on this beautiful world. Have a truly pleasant day.
If something's on your mind, you can tell me. I feel like I'm a better person because of your commitment to gently guide me through life. If it keeps us close, then I'll gladly say those words every time you ask.
I really do hope you're truly the one for my daughter. You and my Sarah are such a lovely couple. It was not quite what I had imagined for Sarah. I thought it would be a grand affair with hundreds of friends and extended family gathered to celebrate. But given her history, I should say I'm not entirely surprised she chose something completely different. However, despite that, I must say that this was truly something special It was quite splendid. Just the two of you, myself, and Aja. From the bottom of my heart. Thank you again for having me. Bye then, dear.
That was quite a workout. Hope you had as much fun as I did. This is my solemn pledge to you. From deep within my heart, from deep within my soul, for all eternity.